Welcome to a new update. Today we talk about altcoins and we are also facing Bitcoin at a crucial resistance, but we're going to talk about altcoins and I'm going to specify some of them which I find interesting at this point and which I find interesting to look at for potential trade. So before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and also check out our other platforms, which are X, where I'm posting more content as well. Check me on Instagram, and also make sure to check out our consultancy and portfolio management and soon to be launched asset management, which is doing really well. Our portfolios are doing between 30 to 40% since September 1st, and the strategies are divided between several risks, and we can build that portfolio for you and we can assist you through the entire bull cycle. So be there, we are here to help you further. This video is sponsored by our partner Bitfavo, which is the easiest broker in Europe to trade your altcoins. They have just got the license in France as well. They've got one in Austria in the past few weeks, and they have more than 200 altcoins to be traded. I'm using it myself for my DCA investments on altcoins, and it's super easy and handy to use. I'm also using it for the crypto to fiat gateway, and we can give you 10,000 euros for free in trading and also 10 euro deposit bonus if you sign up through my link. Now, when we're looking at the markets, we are clearly looking at a case where Bitcoin is currently facing a pivotal resistance. So we're going through the overall overview with the markets. First of all, Bitcoin, and then we go towards the altcoin market cap, ETH, etc., etc. First of all, Bitcoin, I mentioned it in the video on Thursday, it is currently facing a pivotal resistance. We are up for the 6th or 7th week in a row at this point. We're just consolidating there, and we can confirm that there is some serious momentum going into the ETF hype. We are also anticipating a potential halving year, which usually has a pre-halving pump, as we've seen here too. It continues to rally to the upside, and I think we should have gone higher, but then the crash took place of Corona, and then we've got the exact same case in 2016, which inevitably gave a pre-halving rally, which ultimately after that we retested the pre-breakout zone. So I think there are a few scenarios. If Bitcoin is able to make a big breakout to the upside and we reach between 45 to 50k pre-halving, I think we retest 38 to 35k, but I'm not sure whether we are going to see 31k. But if we do have a breaker to the 45k, to 40 to 45k, I'm quite sure we will have a substantial correction taking place around the halving, which always is the case that we're looking at. Halvings have some momentum, ETF has additional momentum, so that's why you see the continuous strength in the markets at this point, but that strength will also give a correction, and also in 2017 we've seen multiple corrections taking place. I think even 5 or 6 have been happening throughout the entire year, so it will be happening. But the higher time frames are looking like we are just consolidating at this point. We still have the bearish divergence, but I've mentioned this before, the bearish divergence is not valid until we clearly are making new lower lows. So in this case we also had a bearish divergence. Here we had one too, and it became valid once we started to lose the level. In this case we just had a retest. In this case we had a prolonged bearish pattern. Here we also continue to have a bearish pattern, in which here the confirmation came for the bearish divergence, actually sweeping the high, coming back down again. It is not a strong signal at all, so I think you could have been shorting here too. This one finalized by having a bullish divergence here at 25k at the beginning of September. So that is what you want to look at. At this point we are still looking at continuation to the upside, and I mentioned a few important levels for Bitcoin to watch. You can see that we are having a clear upwards pattern where we are just making higher lows, which is we are not taking the liquidity on a downside. If we are going to have a phase like this, that could also be possible, but ultimately we are facing this resistance for the 4th time. And the fact that we're breaking this resistance most likely here is going to provide additional strength to the highs. And I think that 45k is probably the area where we're going to top out. So Bitcoin is looking strong. And Bitcoin is looking strong in the case that we're going to have more momentum here. The total market cap is currently looking at a similar case, which is that we are trending upwards. We are making higher lows, higher highs. Most likely we can have some corrections still in between, which we always have, but most likely we can continue this movement from here. If we are going to have a correction, I think that we are looking at a retest of the previous high. So in that case, a drop of approximately 10% is what we're looking at. In this case, we're looking at a correction towards the previous highs here in the bottom of this range. That is 10%, and that means that Bitcoin can drop to 35k, but ultimately still you can continue to expect upwards momentum, especially with the ETF. So the total market cap looks good too. And the total 2, which is the altcoin market cap, is currently facing the final resistance. And if we go back in time, we can see that in 2019, 2020, we had the exact same. And in 2015, 2016, we see that we start to continue to grind to the upside, showing momentum already. And in this case, the altcoin market cap was facing a final resistance as well. And that was at 135 million. It ran to 600 million. And from there it gained towards 400 billion. I'm not sure that we're going to get that at this point, but it makes a lot of sense that we're going to have some more consolidation here and then start to break the resistance, in which we can immediately run towards 1 trillion, which is approximately 50% upwards here, maybe even 2x on the altcoins, which is the largest run we have witnessed, because in January we even had like 50%. So at this point, if we have that correction, which can be happening if Bitcoin takes the liquidity and then continues to fall back down, that is when we're looking at entries. And I still believe that it's the period where you want to position yourself into longs. Total 3, same view, on the edge of starting the new uptrend, can consolidate, doesn't need to retest clear levels, but if we do, it is an entry point. Ethereum is kind of the same. Right now we are having this uptrend. I think we're going to have some more consolidation and then we break to the upwards momentum here. The upwards momentum of breaking above 2150 is most likely going to bring Ether towards $2750 to $3,100. A lot of strength there. So if Ether is going to bring us this correction, take the entry is definitely massively possible. ETH against Bitcoin, still losing momentum. I think we can continue to consolidate and potentially go back down even more if Bitcoin breaks to the upside, because that is due to the fact that the spot Bitcoin ETF might cause some more momentum on Bitcoin rather than ETH, and then the momentum switches when Bitcoin corrects and consolidates and doesn't make new highs, because that is when ETH can start to pace in and that's when the money starts to flow towards altcoins. What are a few of the altcoins that I'm currently looking at in terms of entry points? And I'd like to discuss a few. Chainlink is currently having its momentum and it's most likely not done. What we see here is a period of sideways action for a very, very long term of Chainlink going sideways. We broke the resistance, we consolidated. The best entry is a retest here, but given the momentum and the strength, it didn't happen, which is very normal, especially after such a long period of sideways action, through which it's also not likely that we're going to have the end of the run here already. You can compare the actual run with any of these corrections that are taking place in between. So here we ran from 180 to $5 as well. Here we are currently up from $6 to 15. And I think with the current strategy that entries are clearly given, and I think that we're taking these highs and top ourselves at $25. So if we look at Chainlink, the retest here at 1290 was provided. If we get a retest at 1160, it's even another argument to start looking for longs. At this point, what you want to do is, if we get a retest here, take the entry. If we break up and a retest here, that's also an entry. and you clearly just want to start playing the levels here, in which we can start continuing having momentum and start trading actively to make sure that we are making some money towards 25. And I think that that is around the peak of the markets at this point. Arbitrum is another one which I'm currently facing as an interesting one. I think that if Ether is going to show more strength, Arbitrum is doing the exact same. Retest actually has been making new lows. Retest has been done at 101. Has to break this resistance zone. If we do, then this scenario is the one to watch. Flip of 106 to 120 is likely to come. And then if we break this high, we are eager to start running all the way towards 150 to 180 and have more momentum here. Another one I'm watching is Psy. This one is currently going up massively. And as you can see, you just have to wait for a few clear corrections. So in this case, we had a big breakout to the upside. We continued to correct into this region here, and then we continue to move towards new highs. So if we get in this region, that is an entry point towards 30 cents and to have a clear trade. Short update, but I hope you have been enjoying it. I'll be back on Tuesday. Ciao.